Well, this is just in, and I admit I am kind of pissed, but at the same time, there actually a few people like Steve Turley, for example, have actually seen this coming. The Five-Star Movement, the quote-unquote anti-establishment party, has aligned with the Democratic Party of Italy to form a new coalition government. This way, they would prevent snap elections from occurring, and of course, try to probably oust Matteo Salvini into power. There's just this is definitely a frustrating time, especially since Matteo Salvini is definitely a pretty popular person. Hell, I would even say that he's Italy's version of Donald Trump. And while the left over there tries to make that seem like a bad thing, I would rather consider it a compliment. I would actually say the same thing in the case of Great Britain, with Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, now trying to get into a hard Brexit, leading to a no deal, and even very recently suspending Parliament with the consent of the Queen of England herself. So here's the thing that why I think is going to happen. There's going to be a lot of protests, and I don't think that. And I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to stress this lightly. I'm not going to say this lightly. There will be protests. They will be marches similar to the Yellow Vest movement. In fact, the channel Red Elephant said something pretty similar to this, and I definitely agree. Here's the reason why I think of this. Lega, which is quote-unquote the far-right party in Italy, has nearly a 40% approval rating. Nearly 40%. The last time I checked, it was about 38%. Pretty close. You need 40% in order to have a pretty good functioning government. So in that way, because of this massive support that Lega has, especially from the entire Italian population, it's definitely going to use that public support to try to bring, well, I wouldn't say bring down this new government, but to attack this government over its new policies. I'm willing to bet that they are going to try to let in more refugees into Italy. And people are just not going to like that. I think by the time that this coalition is put together, that their approval rate will be severely low. Even before they pass any legislation whatsoever, they will have such a low approval rating as a result. And I don't blame them. I mean, the population of Italy has been dealing with a migrant crisis ever since either 2014 or 2015. They have been the staging ground to bring NGO ships with many of these migrants and refugees into Italy, just crossing in from northern Africa, from Libya into Italy. And considering what's been going on, especially with not just the change in demographics and this destruction of Italian culture, but also with the rising crime as a result, immigration has become a big issue in Europe. Italy in particular, since it's basically the doorstep into Europe from Africa. That's when Matteo Salvini and his Lega party came in. He basically introduced the idea of closing off this country for migrants. And that got him a lot of approval. While it was a hung parliament as a result of the elections that occurred back in 2017, I believe it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2017. And that forced him to be in a coalition with the Five-Star Movement. He nonetheless fulfilled his promise and is now being considered the de facto head of the Italian government. Hell, he has a 60% approval rating. He is loved by the Italian people. And considering that this is going to be considered something of a soft coup that is just trying to get rid of him in power, people are not gonna like that, especially since he's a major symbol for Italy as a nation. Now, the left has been trying to attack Matteo Salvini mainly because of what he's been doing with immigration and just how he's handling things, which personally I support. He's been attacked for being supposedly obsessed with immigration. Even if that were true, it is for good reason for Matteo Salvini. After all, this is a major issue that Italy has been dealing with. Hell, a lot of these NGO ships, which have been transporting migrants from Italy into or other parts of northern Africa into Italy, have been just trying to stage political events in order to garner support for themselves and to be allowed passage into Italy. One time, I heard about a situation where there was this Dutch ship with about 47 migrants, refugees on board, and the captain intentionally made sure that her ship stayed out for 2 weeks in order to force the Italian government to let her in. What happened was they didn't. So she took matters in her own hands. She basically violated the immigration law, and even went so far as to ram a few of their own ships. Fortunately, a lot of those migrants were deported and spread out across Europe, and of course, the captain herself was actually charged. And even very recently, with the NGO Orban Arms, has been dealing with something of a same situation, except no, it hasn't entered Italy yet, or passed through its patrols or anything. Nothing like that yet. Although it has been sitting there for at least 2 to 3 weeks, because it wants to garner attention, and it's just claiming that this is a desperate situation. The problem is with this situation is that other countries in Europe have said that they would allow these migrants into their own country. Spain was willing to do it. I think Greece also was another one of them. The point is, there were a lot of countries that said, yes, we'll take these people in. But Orban Arms decided to say, no, we're going to try to force Italy in there because migrant crisis. This obviously shows that it's intentional. It's intentionally going to cause. It's just a situation that was developed as a result for political gain. And people are just. And people, basically the Italian people, are frustrated with that situation. How people are just trying to make a political statement, as well as try to force Italy to open up its borders, even though that they don't want to. And this especially I bet it's a concern with the Italian people that there's this new coalition that's going to occur. Again, Lega is very popular. Matteo Salvini is really popular. And here's another issue that may bring down this coalition. There are a few people in the five-star movement that are actually on the right wing. This would probably lead to a few defections of voters in favor of Lega. I wouldn't be surprised if that were to occur, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if the five-star movement eventually collapses in the next election, or if Lega itself just gains a super majority of seats. Although I'm kind of stretching it there, considering of the idea of super majority seats. At the very least, they will be able to get a majority to pass legislation. Nonetheless, it's going to be. This is kind of going to be a turning point. I believe that Italy is not going to accept this. The Italian people are not going to accept this. I think that they will be waiting for a snap election to occur. I believe that they will have such disapproval of their new coalition government that that something similar to what's been going on in France with the Yellow Vest movement is going to occur. And I'm willing to bet that the coalition government, due to all this outrage and public support for LEGA, they will have no choice but to call for a snap election. And even if they don't, in 2022, that's when their new election is going to be held. And I'm pretty sure LEGA will be garnering so much support at that time. They will wipe the floor of these two other parties, and they will have control of the Italian parliament. They may have won this. The left or the far left and the establishment may have won this round in Italy, but it hasn't won the war. I'm pretty sure that because of this one situation, they have already lost. They have already lost in the long term. My name is Nomi on The Arc of Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, share it, and subscribe. Also, if you have any issues with how I speak, how I make these videos, please be sure to either put them down in the comments below or directly message me up above. Thank you.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain.